Control and coordination. In this chapter, we are going to learn about the control and coordination. Respiration, digestion, circulation, excretion, and various other processes maintain our lives in all living things. Let us see if these processes are always carried out at the same level or whether the level varies. Temperature changes with the seasons. In summer, the temperature is high, while in winter, it's very low. Even then, our body temperature is maintained at about 37 degrees Celsius in any season. Our body responds according to the temperature in our surroundings. Eating, more energy, giving foods in winter. Eating, more energy-giving foods in winter. Increased sweating and thirst in summer. Help the body to maintain the right temperature. Several changes occur in our everyday life. Sometimes we eat more, sometimes we eat less, sometimes sweet and sometimes spicy hot foods. Depending on these changes, the processes of digestion also undergoes changes and food gets digested properly. This continuous process of adjustment is called homeostasis. Every living thing responds to factors of the environment such as light, heat, cold, etc. Various life processes are carried on in the bodies of all living things. These life processes are dependent upon one another. Hence, it is necessary for them to be well coordinated. Living things have a special regulatory system for bringing about this coordination between their life processes and also between the movements of various parts of the body. In man, this function is carried out by the nervous system and the endocrine system. There are nerve cells or neurons in the human body. Neurons are the basic unit of which the nervous system is made and which carry out the functions of the nervous system. The nervous system. In order to control and coordinate the life processes, man's nervous system consists of the brain, the spinal cord, and the nerves or nerve fibers. The nervous system can be divided into two parts, the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. The brain and the spinal cord belong to the central nervous system. They regulate all actions of the body. The nerves from the peripheral nervous system. They form a network that spreads all over the body. The nerves connect the various parts of the body to the central nervous system. Afferent nerves. Afferent nerves bring information about the different parts of the body to the spinal cord and the brain. On the basis of this information, the spinal cord or the brain gives commands to specific parts of the body to bring about the necessary action. How do the muscles move? These actions are brought about by the bones and the muscles in that part of the body. Muscles cause movements of the bones. When nerve impulses reaches the muscle fibers must move. The muscle cells move by changing their shape. The muscle cells have a special protein that changes both their shape and their arrangement in the cell in response to the nervous electrical impulse. When this happens, new arrangement of these proteins give the muscles their different shapes. In this way, the cells are able to change their shape and thus causing movements of the muscles. Unicellular animals like the amoeba do not have a separate nervous system. The cell itself is sensitive and regulates its own life processes. A primitive or very special nervous system can be seen in some multicellular animals like the earthworm. In an earthworm, several neurons come together to form a ganglion. These ganglia are joined to form a nerve cord. In man, we see the most highly developed nervous system consists of the brain, spinal cord, and the nerves. Reflex action. When bright light is focused on our eyes or when we touch a hot object, we immediately detect changes and respond to it. This quick response to the stimuli is called a reflex action. Endocrine system. The endocrine system consists of various glands. These glands are ductless. They secrete hormones, chemical substances that control the life processes and movements of animals are called hormones. Hormones are secreted in very small quantities. The organs secreting them are called endocrine glands. The hormones enter the blood directly and spread throughout the body through the blood. The pituitary, pineal, thyroid, thymus, adrenal are the endocrine glands in the human body. The sex of the embryo is decided at the time of conception. However, the manifestation of sexual characters in adolescence occurs as a result of action of hormones. At a certain age, the physical development of boys and the girls begin to show differences depending upon their sex. For example, at puberty, an adolescent boy gets a mustache and beard and his voice becomes hoarse. On the other hand, at puberty, a girl's breasts begin to grow and her voice becomes higher pitched. These differences are the effects of hormones. Growth. Growth is an important characteristic of the living things. Also, it is an irreversible process. Growth in animals. A newborn baby soon begins to turn over on its stomach, to crawl, to walk, to run, and so on. These are irreversible changes that occur during its growth. As children grow, there is an increase in their height and weight, and there are changes in their shapes and sizes. Such irreversible changes constitute growth. A definite period of time is required for growth. We see various stages in the processes of growth, namely 1. Production 2. Growth 3. Differentiation. Production. In this stage, a new organism is produced. Growth at this stage is slow. Growth. The parts of the new organism grow in length, weight, and size. The rate of growth is more. Differentiation. The new parts formed become stabilized. Growth is slow. We see that animals grow only for a definite period of time. The control and regulation of growth in animals. How much an animal will grow depends upon genetic factors. These genetic factors are called genes. Genes are present in the nucleus of every cell. The limit of growth as determined by genes is reached, the growth stops. The growth hormone is responsible for the increase in the height of children and is produced in the pituitary gland in the brain. An increase in its secretion causes the bones of the legs to grow longer. The nervous system and hormones control and regulate the growth of animals. Control and coordination in plants. The movements of animals are easily noticeable. Not so the movements of plants. However, control and coordination of growth and movements is seen in plants as well. Mimosa or the touch-me-not plant responds to the touch by folding up its leaves and then droops. Actions like the blossoming of a bud into a flower, the growth of roots deep into the soil in search of water, the stem growing towards the sunlight, the characteristic movements of the pitcher plant to catch its prey, all tells us that movements in plants are also controlled and coordinated. Summary. The neurons or nerve cells are the structural and functional components of the nervous system. The human nervous system consists mainly of the brain, spinal cord, and the nerves. The endocrine system consists of various glands. Control and coordination is seen in the movements of plants too. That is all in this chapter, students. There is consistency in the life processes of all living things because of control and coordination. Happy learning!